Getting back to technology, Intel's earnings surpassed expectations, triggering a rally in technology stocks. And joining us now from Gleacher Company is Managing Director and Semiconductor Research Analyst Doug Freedman. Doug, nice to have you with us to talk about Intel. And a lot of people are very optimistic after this report. But I suppose the key question is, can Intel follow through on this?
Yes, that's absolutely going to be what's on the forefront of investors' minds this morning. We think so. We think while Intel's definitely executing excellently, we think that their gross margin performance can continue for the next several quarters and into next year.
Well, it came in at 67%, I believe. I mean, how much more can we expect from Intel?
Well, what's really most important to Intel is we're seeing them with some really interesting new products, and the company talked about pulling in Sandy Bridge. Sandy Bridge is this new product that is really a single chip PC. We've got the GPU and CPU on the same part. And what we're looking at is them improving margins with that product as well, and we haven't even started to feel the impact of that yet.
Now, another question, though, that is raised, aside from talking about margins, is whether or not demand is going to keep up. I mean, are there going to be any inventory issues for Intel in the near future?
Yeah, absolutely. Intel's always a great barometer of demand. They do control a large percentage of the computing market, the largest. But when we look at what just happened, we looked at the consumer. Everybody was very afraid of what was going on over in Europe. The consumer numbers looked very good, and we're actually starting to see the early signs of corporations step up and spend, and that was the biggest surprise in the quarter, with really strong server sales.
Well, what do you think happened there?
Well, what we think happens is that the server sales strength continues because that's a product upgrade story that's taking place with the Nehalem product line that was recently introduced. But then what we believe is going to start happening is, as some of those corporate dollars are put to work in servers, we think that's going to free up some spending, and it's going to move over, and you're going to start to see some client-side spending. So we're going to see PCs themselves start to grow, where the corporations can offset some of the slowing growth out of the consumer, which has been much stronger than expected.
I see. All right. Well, Doug, before we leave you, though, just tell us what this means for the other rivals, or for the rivals for Intel.
Yeah, one of the things we would say is that the umbrella that Intel has created is huge, and there's a huge gross margin delta between Intel's numbers and AMD. So we continue to be rather positive on AMD's prospects as well.
Doug, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Doug Freedman of Gleacher Company.